Welcome to the ThunderCast, your martial athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans, with your hosts, Russ Livingood and Jed Horton. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week, so keep it right here, because the ThunderCast is on the loose.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the ThunderCast. It feels like it's been a while because it has. We've had a lot going on, and finally, I'm doing this episode here with Jed, and we'll right after this one have an episode with KD. So when you're watching this, just know we got another episode coming for you, and they'll try to do 2 a week after that to get caught back up with a bunch of stuff. But Jed, a lot has gone on in the world of martial athletics. How about it?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think, we got a lot to go through today through the 5 things and around the herd. And we definitely got our fill being away and now having a lot of things get caught up on. So yeah, ready to dive in.
Yeah, man. I mean, we could have like 85 things every herd fan needs to know this week, feels like, but we're not going to do that to anybody. I do want to remind everybody to hit that hit that follow button, hit that whatever button you want. If you're listening or if you are watching, make sure that you subscribe so you can get notified of every episode that we put out. And also hit us up on all of our social media, but especially over on Twitter. I refuse to call it X still. It's always going to be Twitter to me. I'll never get that out of my head. But over on Twitter, KD does a masterful job of interacting with fans. So make sure you hit us up over there at ThunderCast_pod. Get it right here in a minute. But anyway, Jed, a lot has gone on. Before we get into our 5 things and before we get into our Around the Herd, which is what you and I do each and every week, I've got to give a shout out to 304carwreck.com, the Leasure Oliver PLLC. And just want to remind everybody, if you are anywhere in the state of West Virginia, the state of Ohio, or the state of Kentucky, doesn't have to be right here in the tri-state area, make sure if you or anyone you know get in a wreck, get with Leasure Oliver PLLC, 304carwreck.com. You're just going to have to trust me. I've been through a couple of these wrecks, unfortunately, and it is a lot better to have someone dealing with the insurance companies for you instead of them working against you. But let's hear about a little something from our folks at Leasure Oliver right now.
If you've been hurt in a wreck, call the law firm of Leasure Oliver PLLC. Find them at 304carwreck.com.
All right, Jed. Like I said, could have been 85 things every herd fan needs to know this week, but it's actually going to be a lot, but a lot less than that. But let's just get started with it so we can get on with this. And here we go with 5 things. And now here are at least 5 things every herd fan needs to know this week. As always, brought to you by Ignite Link, the Tri-State's premier IT management team. All right, Jed, we're going to start off with a big one. This is recent, but Zach Bryan, this has been announced, will be playing at Joan C. Edwards Stadium on August the 30th. Doors open at 5:30. Concert starts at 7. Tickets today, as we record this, is Friday. And earlier today, they went on sale to the general public. Pre-sale went on yesterday. A lot of chatter about this event. So what do you think about it?
Well, I was pretty surprised. As if most fans remember, he was actually at the App State game back in the fall, and that was kind of a big deal. And I probably am not the most informed on everything around this, other than the fact that Joan C. Edwards Stadium got chosen, and Huntington, West Virginia, got chosen to be a stop along the tour. So, big deal for the city, big deal for the state, big deal for Marshall. One of the things that I've talked about with friends of mine and things like that is, and you might actually have an answer to this that makes sense, is why have we never done events or attempted to try to do events like this? And so, better late than never. But really big deal. I went online and I looked at tickets, and I was part of that pre-sale opportunity, and they were slim pickings at about, I checked it out around maybe 11:30 ish when it opened at 10, and it was getting pretty thin then. So, but all around, hey, great for the area, great for the local economy. Glad that it's happening.
Yeah, and I was involved in that pre-sale as well. Season ticket holders, this is yet another reason why you want to be a season ticket holder with Marshall. You get emails and offers on some things, and that was one of them. And people were hitting up. KD had tweeted something out because someone said something about, why are you saying Thursday? It says Friday. And he was like, oh, there was a separate email and there's a pre-sale opportunity. And immediately the DMs just start going off. It's like, hey, hit me up with that link. I really want that link.
Right.
And people that were not Herd fans, they just saw pre-sale Zach Bryan, and they had searched that, and they were going, and a lot of that's scalpers. They want to get those tickets early, and they want to turn around and make a lot of money. I won't be here. I'll be at the Georgia game, God willing, but I do think this is absolutely huge. It's an away game, so anyone not going to Georgia is going to be able to go to this, and it's going to bring in, man, I have to imagine this is going to sell out. You're going to have people from around, not just the tri-state area, but I mean, you're going to have people, maybe coming over from Lexington, maybe coming over from somewhere in Virginia, maybe coming up from Tennessee. You're going to have folks coming around to see Zach Bryan because this might be the closest for them. So it's going to be huge for the area. I know almost immediately after the announcement, I have the Southside Suite, as little Airbnb style short-term rental. It got booked almost immediately, and
Right.
And it was by a Herd fan, which I'm glad it was a Herd fan. But yeah, man, huge for the area, huge for Marshall. This is the sort of thing that is maybe going to open the door to have a lot more events like this here.
Yeah, I agree. I pulled up his tour dates just because I was curious.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like he's playing in Notre Dame Stadium.
Yeah, it's the week after us,
and then after that, towards the end of September in Ann Arbor.
Yep.
And he's up in New Jersey in July, and then he's actually over in London and Dublin, and so yeah, I mean, if you're south of southeast of Huntington, and southeast and southwest, and I mean, you could have people coming up from down south. You could have people coming for quite a way. So big deal. I'm glad that this happened, and I'm not a big country music fan, so don't throw stuff at me. But I'm all for any type of use, especially with the Joan involved.
Yeah, and I'm not a country music fan either, at least modern country or anything. I've heard probably the majority of Zach Bryan's songs, but I couldn't tell you what they are or who. I just know if I hear them, they're constantly playing. All modern music, modern country. But I don't care who it is. If it's a big act like this and it's selling out places, and it's probably going to sell out Notre Dame Stadium, man, if they sell out the big house, with 100-some thousand, there's also some rumblings that he in the past has added Sunday dates if the Saturday event sells out. So there might be a second date. And man, if there is on that, it's going to be even bigger for Huntington and Marshall. But just really cool, man. We're leading with this story because it's the biggest, coolest story I think that we have.
Yeah, no, I would 100% would agree with that. I just, I'd hopefully this is a trend that gets started and a trend that can continue because,
Yeah.
you know, the Joan is a great place, obviously, for football games. We love it. But a way for Marshall University and their facilities to be used for other things, for things other than that. So than just football. So that's, you know, again, you know, I'm all on board for this.
Nothing that I've seen has been announced yet, but I'm eagerly waiting to see how they're going to do parking, you know, in the surrounding lots that they
Yeah.
have, because that could be a really, really big thing. Even if they have to split it with the tour, you know, I don't know what the details are, what Marshall's getting. None of that has been announced publicly. But if you get a slice or the majority of the parking around there, especially if you open it up to like, hey, 4 hours in advance, which gives people pregame tailgating kind of to deals.
Mhm.
You know, that could be huge. Could be a headache. Still, could be a lot of money coming in from Marshall.
Right, absolutely. Well, local hotel. I mean, you're going to have people having to stay an hour away or more.
Yeah.
Is what you're going to have. I mean, just, you know, hotels are going to be booked up. Again, a great problem to have.
Yeah.
But it will be hectic that weekend for those of you who aren't attending. Beware, you're not going to be able to get in and out of town very well.
Yeah. All right, number 2, I think this was equally cool. Troy Brown to be inducted in the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame on April 17th.
Very cool. I mean, why would we disagree with any of that?
Yeah.
And you know, obviously, you know, amazing player while he was here.
Yeah.
But very, very cool that, you know, South Carolina is going to add them to their College Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah. The guy for me, I guess, when I first started watching Marshall was Troy Brown. You know, there were big stars on defense. There were, you know, Michael Payton at quarterback and things like that. But Troy Brown was the guy that, you know, he was returning kicks. He was returning punts. He was lining up in the defensive backfield. You know, he caught some passes. He was like the jack of all trades, do everything. And then he goes to the NFL and he's undersized and no one, you know, predicts he'll do anything and he won't make a roster and he just stays with it and stays with it. And then all of a sudden you see all that he does in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in the Patriots Hall of Fame. He's one of their all-timers and beloved guy up there. He, for the longest time, was the most successful NFL player to come from Marshall.
Yep.
You know, guy named Randy Moss passed him up just a little bit, but you know, Troy Brown has always he still has a house around here. You know, he's been very noticeable in the area. You know, still kind of considers this to be home, even though he moved here. But yeah, for the state of South Carolina to put him in the Football Hall of Fame for the state, that's just it's a big deal. Big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well deserved and big for, yeah. I mean, just give him some more accolades. I mean, well deserved. So that's great.
Number 3, Marshall partners with Vozzy, VOZZI, for text alerts for events, reminders, and offers. This is something, you know, Marshall constantly puts out email and stuff like that, but you can sign up through this third party. You can do so over on Herd Zone. Just search for Vozzy, VOZZI, if you don't see the link. And you can get alerts. And the big deal is offers. They're going to be, you know, letting you know some things coming for tickets, merchandise, and all kinds of things.
Yeah. No, I think this is good. One of the things that I wouldn't call it a complaint, but things that sometimes communication,
Yeah.
especially on sports, it has been a common complaint, knowing that certain deals are being run, or different things like that. So no, I think this is good. A step in the right direction of having a centralized platform for communication. That way, as fans sign up for this, we're going to hopefully be kept in the know of what's going on. And again, special promos and deals. That's
Yeah.
always good too.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop on my soapbox just for a little bit because I'm not disagreeing with what you say. In fact, I agree with it. You hear people all the time saying, communication, lack of communication, lack of communication. I get emails from the Big Green that says, "Here's what's going on in the Big Green this week." I get emails from Marshall Athletics. It's like, here is they've got graphics on there, with each thing from the Big Green, each thing from Marshall Athletics, from the ticket office. It includes things like that. There's links in every email, and it's, again, not just a wall of text. It's pictures, graphics of these different things, and I get these constantly. I also follow Marshall Athletics on social media, so I see those things on there. It's not that they're not doing a good job putting it out. It's that people are just not plugging in to get that sort of thing. And if you're a season ticket holder in any sport, you're going to get that email. If you're a Big Green member, you're going to get that email. So this is going to help the people that aren't Big Green members. It's going to help the people that aren't season ticket holders. But the big thing is, just become a Big Green member for $5 a month. Just get tickets and get on these email lists so you can see that. I constantly see people on social media say, "Where can I watch this game?" Well, it's right on herdzone.com.
Right.
They have the TV, radio, everything listed about that. They'll say, "Where can I get tickets?" I've seen people getting tickets off of third-party vendors thinking that they couldn't possibly get them through Marshall, like they're sold out. They're readily available. Just I get what you're saying. I don't disagree with what you're saying, because unfortunately that is true. Lack of communication is what a lot of people complain about. I personally don't think that they have a communication problem. But for those of you who do, here's yet another avenue that you can sign up for and
Well,
get text.
and I think that's good too. Is I think a lot of times, having a method for some people that's consolidated.
Yeah,
As long as it's not blown up. I'm not saying they do that, but I know in
sure.
my email inbox, if I do get blown up for something, it's easy to look it over. For our modern day society, where we want that information real quick, right? Not have to look for it. I think that'll be good for that, or good for the casual fan, to know, keep them in the know of what's going on. So I'm not going to disagree. I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's tailored to probably a little bit of a different audience, or an audience who's, that medium of text is going to be maybe a better medium for some people for that communication.
So I actually enjoy the herdzone.com app on my phone. And I know no one can see this, but I have it up right here. And one of the things at the bottom says schedule. And it just tells you click on the day, which today's the 28th, and it has every single thing. It's got track and field is all day. Women's tennis was earlier today. We're going to talk about all this stuff in Around the Herd. Softball's at 6 p.m., baseball's at 7 p.m. And you can click on it, and it takes you to where it's going to be, how you can watch it, stats for it. It's great.
One of the things, like, I want to look, you can't really see it here, but this one right in the middle,
Tickets.
Tickets.
Yeah.
So you can buy tickets right from the app. So no, I've got the Herdzone app and I use it. It's more for just the light show at the camp.
Yeah, that too, man. And they're doing that at other events too. You can anything that you're doing, they're trying to do those herd lights now, and it's great. But no, I mean, hopping off my soapbox, just be a Big Green member, get tickets. When you do that sort of thing, they're going to communicate with you. If they don't have your home phone number right now and they don't have your email address, I'm not sure how you expect them to get a hold of you,
Right.
So anyway, most of the people that are listening to this, I'm speaking to the choir anyway, because, they already are plugged in and know how to get contacted anyway. Number 4, Kseniia Luniushina has been named SBC Freshman of the Year and Sunbelt Conference Swimmer of the Year. Absolutely huge year for her. I'm going to talk about the rest of the stuff with swim and dive in a minute, but let's go ahead and talk about Luniushina right now.
Yeah, so, and I've not looked this up, Russ, because I should have. So maybe somebody can tag the Thundercast in this. Is when the last time? Maybe it's not rare. Maybe it just happened last year. But when's the last time someone had the double honor?
Couldn't tell you.
That'd be a good trivia question.
Yeah.
Who's the last time after since her? I mean, when's that been done? Yeah. So,
and you're not talking just about swim and dive, right? Any sport
getting the double honor.
Because KD and I have talked similarly about this before, about how in football someone would be freshman of the year but not newcomer of the year, or they would be offensive player of the year but not like last time Mike Green this past football got player of the year, but he wasn't defensive player of the year. So it seems like they constantly try to, not double up on these awards. So I would say it's pretty rare since we have entered the Sunbelt Conference, and I wouldn't know in the in Conference USA. I have tried to become comatose to everything that happened in Conference USA and just wipe it from my memory. So I can't tell you. It's a great question. And
yes.
I'm going to ask Steve Cotton. And if anybody knows, at Herd Cotton will know.
Yeah. And make sure to tag the Thundercast in it. And even us as well in the answer if you figure that out for us. Because I would say, and I'm going to make an assumption here, that's pretty rare. I guess that's not a common thing. So all that to say, congratulations on that. That's a big deal.
Let me talk a little bit about Luniushina, and then I got some more stuff on swim and dive. This could technically be like 3 or 4 different things, So she was the co-scorer, if you remember. She led the scoring in the Sunbelt Conference tournament. She was one of 2 that were tied with the most points for the meet back in February. She set the meet record in the 100 backstroke while breaking the program and conference record for the 4th time of the season with her time of 52.49, ranking 75th in the country. The 5-time Sunbelt Conference Swimmer of the Week also set program records in the 200-meter backstroke and was part of the 400-meter medley relay program record-breaking squad. Just broken records. A couple of those things, she broke them, and then later that day broke them again. It was in the qualifying, and then she, in the actual in the meet in the tournament, she would break that. Just absolutely huge. True freshman coming in here. KD and I had been highlighting freshmen in every sport. It seemed like, we've got somebody that's a real high performer, but no one else so far has won Freshman of the Year. So huge by Luniushina. Let's get to the rest of the swim and dive stuff. Madeline Hart was named the SBC Elite Award winner, and this is for someone that gets it done in the pool and in the classroom. She maintained a 4.0, and we constantly talk about how everybody on swim and dive gets it done in the classroom. But 4.0 student athlete brought home 6 medals from the Sunbelt Conference Championships, including gold in the 100-meter butterfly, 200-meter medley relay, and as part of the program, record-breaking 400-meter medley relay squad, as we talked about above. The graduate student was a 2-time Sunbelt Conference Swimmer of the Week and holds the second highest time in program, fastest time in program history in the 200-meter butterfly. Crazy good year for Madeline Hart as well.
Yeah.
Just like Ron Popeil always used to say, though, Jed, but wait, there's more. In addition to the 2 individual awards, 7 Marshall swimmers and divers were named first team all-conference, with Paige Banton, Grace Kelsheimer, Esther LeBon, Lauren McNamara, and Audrey West joining Hart and Luniushina. And then Parker Lynch, Mia McBride, Preslava Tesheva, and Molly Warner were each named second team all Sun Belt Conference. Kelsheimer was a 7-time Sun Belt Conference Diver of the Week, won gold in the 1-meter boards, and got silver in the 3-meter. She lost that 3-meter dive to the diver of the year. I thought that she was going to get that. And again, we just talked about this, qualified for the NCAA diving zones, and she reached the finals in the A zone. Highest finish of a Sun Belt Conference diver. All these other ones that are on here, if you go to Herd Zone, you can read every single thing that they did throughout the year. I don't have the 30 minutes to go through each and every one of them, but dag on, what a good year. What a crazy good, not sweep of the awards, but just overall performance by our swim and dive team.
And we talked about earlier in the season, last year, when the season first started, was we thought they had a really good opportunity, especially with being the last year of Sun Belt, to actually win that competition and be dominant on the way out. And they obviously did that. So, I don't know who made, I didn't make the prediction, but the predictions came true. So, this is really good, and congratulations to all these swimmers. They dominated.
Yeah. Number 5, switching over to basketball, Kyson Pruitt has entered the transfer portal for men's basketball. And after we discuss this, there's another thing about men's basketball that we'll discuss. As you can see here, Wyatt Fricks has announced that he will return for his 5th year. Let's talk about Kyson Pruitt first. Go ahead.
No, I didn't have a lot of information other than looking back on the season, I don't think he had a lot of playing time. I don't think that was due to any injury or anything like that. And that's not calling out, skills or nothing like that. It's just, when you only have so many years of eligibility, and a coach like Coach Jackson is going to be looking to reload after losing, some heavy hitters from this last year. If that playing time's looking pretty sparse, it's the era of this portal. You're going to see this. This is not going to be an uncommon thing.
Yeah. A lot of people want to go where they can play. I see it a lot in basketball because it's one of those situations where there's only so many minutes. And, I don't know where he'll end up. But in the previous season, he had 14 games played, 7.4 minutes off the bench per game. He got in a lot more. This past season, he only got in 3 games, and he averaged 5 minutes. So he saw 15 minutes of playing time. Again, like you said, not a knock on him. He was way, way, way down on the depth chart when you start looking at everybody that came in with Michael Dawson and, the Gibbs brothers, saw a lot out on the wing and at guard. And Pruitt was not the only one, that saw it being a tough time to get onto the court. This will open up a roster spot. I don't mean this in a bad way. I think he was an excellent student athlete here, but this is not like a huge loss because of production. It's a roster spot that opens up where this past season it was only 15 minutes of playing time for the entire season. So the big deal is when you look at the overall graduating seniors and Pruitt and whomever else may enter the portal, there's going to be a lot of roster available. So when we start looking more, into this recruiting cycle and things like that, there are a lot of scholarships that are going to be available and roster spots that are going to be available for Coach Corny Jackson. And again, we wish Kyson Pruitt the best of luck. Not a knock on him at all, but the playing time just was not there. So I hope that he gets to go somewhere and play like he wants to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, also the second half of this is Wyatt Fricks announcing that he's coming back. This will be his fifth year with us, and Fricks is one of those guys that has seemingly unlimited potential as far as when he's hot and he's on, he's on.
Yeah.
He is super athletic and things like that, but it just seems like to date he has been a lightning rod from a lot of the fan base because he hasn't hit that potential that he has. Super athletic, comes in off the bench. Oh, looks like my camera cut out. Don't know why. You can still hear me, Jed?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Yep.
All right. Well, it may be that the rest of this show you won't get to look at my beautiful, beautiful face.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I don't know what happened. All
right, Russ is going to try to work on this real quick, and then I may need to pause this. So,
all right, sorry for that little hiccup here. Technical difficulties that we're just running right through. But we were talking about Wyatt Frick, and Wyatt is, again, a lightning rod sometimes, but he put in a lot of meaningful minutes. I personally think that it's good to have him back because he knows the system. And he will be a senior leader in the locker room, even if he's not the team captain or anything like that. I just think that it's good to have him back as a role player and someone that knows the system because we're graduating a lot of seniors. Who knows who might enter the transfer portal, but having someone in this system that can help the coaching staff, educate the newcomers that are going to be coming in, I think is great that we have, a fifth-year senior coming back.
Yeah, and he had some times too where he kind of went off a little bit. I mean, he never was a super top scorer. But I pulled it up real quick. I mean, he had the game against Louisiana in January. He had 15 points. Georgia Southern, he had 13 points. Southern Miss, 12. Well, I don't think that was. Wait, I don't think that's right. But anyway, there were some games that he scored, and he showed, like you said, those flashes. No, and you won, especially with a couple of your seniors that are leaving, high production players. It's good to have some of that mature player who's played in the system here to help the newcomers. So I'm with you. I'm glad he's back.
Yeah, so one of these games, it was the Arkansas State game, I think, that I'm looking at here. He was 3 of 5 from 3, but 3 of those threes, if I'm not mistaken, were back to back to back, on those makes, and it just helped turn the game around, and that was a win by Marshall. So again, he's a role player. We're not talking about, 26 minutes in the opener against Davis and Elkins. But then once the season actually started, 21 minutes is the most that he had, and that was in an overtime game. after that, he topped out at 20 minutes a couple times. More of that, he was in the 12 to 18 minutes a game, somewhere through there. So again, we're talking about a role player off the bench. We're talking about a rebounder, a high energy guy when he comes in because he's athletic. It would just be really good to see him put it all together and hit that ceiling that we know that he has with the flashes that he's done. But from here, at my point of view, I'm glad that he's coming back for the reasons that we said.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, moving on now. Marshall Football Women's Clinic will be held on April the 4th from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Joan. Registration is open now, and you can register even at the event. Registration will open at 5 p.m. the day of. So if you're not familiar with what this is or you want more information, it's over on Herd Zone. It's on social media. Just find the Women's Clinic, and then you can click to register. $75 for anyone that wants to register, and I think it's $25 for current students. All right. Number 7, Addison Painter breaks the school record for the men's long jump. The previous record was set back in 1995, and the new record is now 7.55 meters.
Well, and we've heard his name quite a bit this season.
Absolutely.
And that's pretty good. Did you say what the record was previous?
No, I'd have to look that up, and it's right here in the article if I can find it. Let's see. Painter, 7.55 new school record. It says breaking Kamisi Jackson's record from 1995, but it does not say what that.
7.54, I think.
Oh, is it real? I couldn't find that
broke
anywhere.
His own previous school. Wait, oh no, that's his previous school record.
Yeah.
So that was his record. So it must have been between 7.54 and 7.58.
Well, 7.55 is the new record, so he must have either tied it before or it was, I don't know what the deal was, because he broke it back earlier the first meet of the year, and I think at the time he was 3rd in the country when he did that. If I remember talking about that on the show. So I just couldn't find anywhere on there that was 7.54, but
I think I misread there, but okay. So it's been beat. So add that to the list of things to tag us in on. We should do a ThunderCast trivia segment, Russ, at some point where you get everyone corrects what we do and what we say.
Well, we've never made a mistake on the show, so as soon as we make a mistake, we can start getting corrected. But
right.
Number 8, we're staying with track and field for these next couple. Number 8, and this does say what the previous record is. The 4x100 men's relay team, 4x100 of Wyatt Milhone, Joey Blowbaum, Samari McCord, and Isaiah Valentine set a new program record at 40.93 seconds. The previous record was 40.99 seconds set in 2001. However, this is kind of cool. Finishing right behind them was another 4x100 from Marshall at 40.95. So 2 different teams broke the school record from 2001. But the one team finished 40.93. The other was 40.95. So those 4 barely eke out Ethan Bowens, Jonathan Owusu, Micah Coates, and Chris Swint. I mean, 40.93, 40.95, that is photo finish.
Yeah.
And both of them broke a school record from 2001, but one gets in the record books and the other is kind of a, hey, you almost got here. I just think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I think so too. And whenever you're seeing these things like, swim and dive doing extremely well and winning, you're seeing these these individual runners and teams performing well on the track, you know, it's that's what you want to see around your athletics. You want to see, you know, a standard of excellence and high competition across the entire athletic base. And when you're seeing that, when you have a culture of winning and a culture of being successful, you know, that emanates, and that you want that. It's attractive to potential students that you're wanting to bring in, potential athletes you want to bring in. When you're having that culture of winning and performing and things like that, it's a good trend to see. You know, we've not, won everything in track, obviously, but you're seeing some trends here, and we're going in the right direction. And I think establishing that culture is good. So.
Yeah, we're going to stick with track and field based on what you're saying here with some more news. Number 9, Laura Check named Sunbelt Conference Women's Field Athlete of the Week, and she also was one of those that broke a long jump record. Currently ranked first in the Sun Belt Conference and the NCAA East region with her 6.24 meter long jump last Friday. Again, that broke the school record. Her long jump mark, which also won that event, has Czech sitting number 5 in the country right now in the long jump. Number 3 in she's number 3 in Marshall School history. So that did not break. I think it broke the meet record or whatever. But still, the win and number 5 in the country, number 1 in the Sun Belt, big time things. Mm-hmm. All right, number 10. Only got a couple more. Riley Lucas named the Sun Belt Conference Softball Player of the Week. Now, I happen to sit out in the outfield as often as I can with Riley's dad, Joey, and I always like to mention Joey here on the show because Joey's just such a cool dude. But 5 home runs is what Riley did, amongst other things. But she just absolutely raked that last week to win this award. Got anything to say about Riley and that effort?
Other than, I know I couldn't hit a softball to save my life, let alone sending a lot of home runs out there. So it's impressive, man. I've always been impressed watching just the sport of softball, in general. It's a it's a smaller field than the baseball field, things like that. But being you've got to be an athlete, a real big athlete, to be able to, whether it's from the pitching to especially the hitting, to be able to knock a softball out of the park. I'm not going to go into an arm wrestling contest with her. Let's just say that, a lot of strength, and it's, congratulations to her. I mean, she's performing. So
usually the ones that she hits are no doubters. I mean, they're not fence scrapers. They're gone. Yeah. She wasn't clear out of the stadium at Oklahoma. It just happened to be foul by a little bit, but she has been known to hit them out onto 3rd Avenue at the dot. And here's what she did. This is not the whole week. This is just in that 3-game series against James Madison at James Madison. She was 5 of 9 with 4 home runs, 556 average, and had 3 walks. 5 total home runs in 5 games last week, 6 hits and 16 at bats to lead the herd to a 5-0 week. We're going to talk a lot more about softball, but Riley had quite the week, and she now leads the team in home runs with 9 and RBI with 22. All right. Last but not least, number 11 of a lot of things to go over this week. You can meet Jalen Parker and Carlos Del Rio Wilson at the Herd Zone Stadium store on April the 10th from 6:15 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. The store will be open so you can get your gear before the spring game, and they will be signing autographs. I think this is really cool. A lot of people want to get gear, want to, get stuff for the coming season. We'll be having a big event at the Joan, former players, and we'll be there, on Friday. But this is 2 days before the spring game. You can get there, get a little taste of football, pick up some autographs, do a little meet and greet with some 2 new players for the herd, possibly the starting quarterback. We won't know until much later in this process. And the first transfer that we got this season, who immediately became a fan favorite on Twitter, Jalen Parker. So if you want to meet Carlos Del Rio Wilson, if you want to meet Jalen Parker, and you want to pick up some autographs, and you want to get in the Herd Zone store at the stadium and pick up some new gear, April 10th, 6:15, be there.
Yeah, there's also isn't there a killer tailgate going on there too?
Not that day, but 2 days later on the 12th.
On the 12th. Okay, so the 10th is 2 days. Oh, okay, so that's right.
So this is Thursday night, and then on the 12th we're going to have a massive tailgate for the spring game. KD and I are going to have more details about that in the show that we're getting ready to post. We're going to record it after I record this and later on tonight. But we'll have a massive tailgate there on the 12th.
So get your gear, get some autographs, and get ready for the tailgate.
That's right. Tailgate for the tailgate. Saturday. How about that?
Yeah, tailgate. Yeah, there you go. We could do that.
Jed, that brings an end for this week. 11 plus a bunch of others mixed in there. Things every Herd fans need to know this week. And as always, brought to you by Ignite Link and the guy. Wait, yeah, right there. I had to see which way you are on my camera. But Jed, you and Ignite Link, thanks for always being such an integral part of this and helping us bring the fans all this news. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say is it just goes to show, too, that we can't take any time off, because when we do, you see what happens to the 5 things. I mean, it's every single week there's something going on, and when we miss, it piles up.
There's a lot
going on.
It does. Yeah. But what do you say we take this around the herd, and I'm going to let the ad play for Layer 1 Solutions that takes us around the herd. And now, Layer 1 Solutions, your experts in business connectivity infrastructure, takes you around the herd.
All right, Russ. We're gonna go around the herd, and we're gonna kind of talk more generalities on some things, because around the herd, there's been so much going on around the herd. So we're gonna limit it a little bit, and then we'll open it up for discussion. And I know you've got a lot of info that you want to talk about these topics, especially as we get down this list. So with track and field, we're going to start there. They're currently at the Raleigh Relays, and that is through Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about what they've done the last couple of weeks with those program records and the different things that they've done. Raleigh Relays, they're doing, I think they started Thursday, so there's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But we're going to be hopefully hearing some more tomorrow, or when you are watching or listening to this, it will actually be Saturday. Social media, you'll see the end of this event, and hopefully we'll have a lot more to tell you all about it. But we already talked a lot about them and around the herd on what they've done. You know, Laura Check winning of the week, being 5th in the country, number 1 in the Sun Belt Conference. Addison Painter breaking a school record that stood for 30 years now. And, one time earlier in the season, he was number 3 in the country. And then we had the 4x100, 2 different foursomes breaking the school record. So just a lot to be happy with, and I'm proud of with the team. And Raleigh Relays is going to see a lot of competition. It's not going to be one of these that you have some West Virginia schools coming here for a Marshall event, and Marshall just dominates the entire thing. This is going to have a lot of big time schools in it. So, if you hear wins and you hear meet records or school records drop and things like that, this is against some big competition. So really looking forward to tomorrow, or if you're listening, watching later today, we'll have all this out on ThunderCast_pod over on Twitter. But they'll have the article up on Herd Zone real quick after the meet.
Let's go ahead and jump over to tennis, Russ, and they are on the road today. At this was Friday. They started this Friday or today at 11,
and they won. They won. I don't. Yeah. 4-0. By the way, they didn't even finish because we had already got enough of the wins to blank them. So 4-0. Go ahead.
And then they will be at Arkansas State on Sunday at 11 a.m.
Yeah, we had a top 50 program going into a Virginia road trip, and we faced JMU, and we lost, and we faced Old Dominion, who was also a top 50 program, and we lost. And Old Dominion has been the cream of the crop in the Sun Belt here for the past, I don't know, since they joined at least, but they've been a good women's tennis team for a long time. But we ended up having another high-ranked team that we played, and let's see, who was that? Number 48, South Alabama. At the time, we were 65th in the country. South Alabama was 48th, and we beat them. So we ended up sweeping Southern Miss, beating South Alabama. Then we dropped to when we were 52nd in the country, we dropped a contest to App State. Now we're 67th in the country, and to open it up, we sweep ULM, and then we've got Arkansas State on Sunday. If we come away with that, we're inching back up toward the 50s. It's like we get up there, we do really well, we have a slight loss, we drop down, then we beat somebody big, and we go back up, we have a slight loss. So we're trending in the right direction, but if we could, that Virginia swing, that really knocked us down. And then we came back. So a lot of big things out of tennis. Everything that we do right now is just prep for the Sun Belt Conference tournament. And when we get to the championships for that, ODU is the big team that we're going to be facing. Right now, we are getting a lot of respect in the conference because, heck, we've stayed in the 40s to 60s for, it's been, I think, 5 weeks or so now that we've been ranked. So really good season so far.
Yeah, if we can keep it up, let's keep that winning trend going and continue to play at that high level. We're going to go ahead and swing on over to women's golf. They will be at the Golf Week Invitational Monday through Wednesday in Pawleys Island, South Carolina.
Yep. Marshall came off of being tied for 5th out of 14 in their previous tournament. And let's see here. It says the final round team score of 5 over was tied for 5th amongst the 14 teams in the tournament, 5 of which were nationally ranked in the latest WGCA rankings. We've got, again, like it's almost like we were talking about with Wyatt Fricks. We got all this potential because we're seeing like us perform really well, or someone leading the pack for a while, and it's just like this team hasn't put it all together yet. But you can see the improvement year over year. You can see the improvement throughout the season, from the early part of the spring season. So exciting time in women's golf. Coach Burkhammer, has quite a few different players here. You hear Olivia Cochan, Emily McClatchy, Savannah Hawkins, Abby Bull. You hear these names week after week after week, and it's just a matter of time that we have another notch in the golfer of the week. We have another, third place finish, second place finish, that sort of thing. But big time things so far.
All right, let's jump on over to men's golf. They are going to be at Golf Week, AGT Intercollegiate, Tuesday and Wednesday, also in Paulins Island.
Yeah, and they too had a decent showing. JF Aber finished in a tie for 12th place at 2 under in their previous tournament. Joseph Kolaski was tied at 16th at 1 under. Both of them being in the top 20 there. Kolaski shot a 1 under 70 during the final round. Cameron Jarvis also 1 under 70. Kolaski was 5 under 66 to start. He jumped out to a really big lead in the tournament. Again, this is one of those things you see Aber finishing or being tied for winning the event or finishing second or things like that. It's the putting it all together that we're still waiting to see. But young on the season still for them as well. But already some good accolades on the golfer of the week. I think it was just the last time KD and I did a show, or maybe we did maybe it's in between us doing the shows, but we had women's golf and men's golf both sweeping the of the week that same week. So
very cool. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit of softball.
yeah.
So let's talk about they will be hosting Texas State this weekend, Friday at 6 p.m., and then 2 games on Saturday at 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. So if you've got the opportunity this weekend, you got a full slate of Marshall softball you can catch.
Yeah, and I'm getting ready to go to that after you and I finish recording here. First pitch is a little over half an hour away. I'm going to be taking my girls over there. My son will actually be at someone's birthday party. But me and the girls are going to go over, and we're going to sit in the outfield and do what we do, which is enjoy Marshall softball. Man, I tell you, if you're listening and watching and you don't go often, you really need to go, because the weather is great today. It's going to be in the 70s over there, and you can go sit in the stands and talk to fans and get on the umpiring, which is usually horrible. And you can sit out in the outfield where a lot of player parents are there as well, and meet some player parents that travel from all over the country to come here. We've got Brooklyn Ulrich's parents are coming in from Arizona pretty much to every home game, every home series. And they're on the road a lot too. And, it's just a fun time. And let's talk a little bit about what they did. We talked about them sweeping James Madison and Riley Lucas winning softball player of the week for the Sun Belt Conference. What has happened since we have done a show and we haven't really gotten to talk about is they snapped the 89 series win streak. Conference series win streak. Louisiana, it dated back to March of 2013. And they beat them. They won in the first game pretty convincingly. They lost in the second game, come back on that next day, and they beat them again convincingly. And if I'm not mistaken, because it's been a couple of weeks now, I think it was a run rule. If I'm not mistaken, it was like 12-4, 14-4, or something like that. I think it's 12-4. But they beat Louisiana, mighty Louisiana, the big bopper of the Sun Belt Conference, and we are now seeing Marshall softball getting respect not only in the conference, but we're seeing them get respect throughout the nation. Because right now they are ranked 17th in D1 softball's mid-major rankings. So that's only amongst mid-majors. It's not 17th in the country, but they went to Oklahoma, they played Iowa, they played all these different teams, and a lot of them have been ranked. None of them ranked as high as you'll ever see. Number one Oklahoma, perennial number one Oklahoma, but they've had 3, I think, different teams in the top 15 and played a total of, I think, 6 games against them. They played some big time opponents so far, and they have done a lot. So if you want to have a fun weekend, man, tomorrow, if you can't make it out, as you listen to this, it'll be later on today. They're going to have a 3 p.m. and a 6 p.m. matchup, doubleheader over at the Dot. It's a great time. It's great for the family. Bring your kids. Again, this is not like basketball. You can let them run around out there in the grass beyond the outfield fence and everything. That's where you'll see me camped out. But support this herd program, man, because they've just been killing it.
Yeah, and it's especially I was looking at tomorrow. I mean, there's a slight chance of maybe some rain, but not. I mean, it's a lower chance of rain. Really, it's just supposed to be cloudy. High of 81. Go catch you some softball.
Yeah.
Last but definitely not least, let's talk about baseball. They will be at number 17, Troy, this weekend. Friday at 7 p.m. So that's going to be here in a couple of hours. Then tomorrow, Saturday at 4:30 p.m. and then Sunday at 2 p.m. And then they will be back home on Tuesday, hosting Eastern Kentucky at 6 p.m. That's on Tuesday.
Yeah, a couple things here recently. They had that 9-game winning streak that we had talked about, and that started down at Georgia Tech. I'll get it right here in a minute. And they took 2 of 4 out of that, as we have talked about. Then they came home and, starting with that series-ending victory, they went undefeated at home for a stretch and won 9 games in a row. Had a lot of momentum, and then they go down to Arkansas State. And, first they lost a heartbreaker against Central Michigan at home, 12-11 after beating them 11-5 the game before that. Go down to Arkansas State, and they get run ruled in the first game, 11-1, 7 innings. They come back, and they win 12-2 the very next game in 7 innings. And you're thinking, all right, here it is. You're going to a Southern Sun Belt Conference team. Arkansas State was not ranked, but they perennially the Sun Belt Conference just churns out really, really good baseball teams. And all those teams down in the South, man, they play year round, and they every year have a leg up on us. And historically, they've had a leg up on us. And we go down and we run rule somebody. And things like that weren't happening last year. So I was real excited, but the very next day we lost 9-1. It kind of took the the air out of my lungs a little bit. Go back on the road. They let a game slip away, Eastern Kentucky on the road, and we hopefully get them back on Tuesday. But we start out at home in the James Madison series, get a 6-5 victory, and then 2 different one-run losses, 5-4 and 2-1, and that was our chance. It felt like just to, pick up a couple of Sun Belt Conference series victories, that back-to-back series we just let slip away. And then go up to Morgantown and we get shut out 7-0. And more than anything, I always hate losing to WVU, not because of who they are, but because of the fans online. Just, you could beat them 90-0 in 85 contests in a row, and every win that they get, I start getting DMs. Everybody starts getting DMs just because, their team that they've never even set a foot on campus won in a sport that they don't watch, but they're going to come and attack every Marshall fan. So I really hated that. But number 17, Troy, if you go down there at Troy and you win this series, that puts Marshall on the map in the Sun Belt Conference. Troy is killing it right now. You take 2 games against them, that would be huge for the program. You win 1 game, I'm going to say, hey, that's a step in the right direction. But just being real, the deck is stacked against us when we go down there to play against number 17, Troy. So if we lose all 3 games, it's not that we're not still going in the right direction. They're just really, really, really good.
Right. Yeah, and that's going to be a tough one too. That's just going to be tough. But we've seen this team pull some things off this year. There's a spark this year that again, I mean, you're talking second year in a new stadium, second year with a new coach. You want to see your program, trending. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we want to see them trend fast, but you want to continue to see that trend. So, they've got the pieces to win and do well this season. Let's see if they can do it. I'm hopeful that they can, and hopefully we can show Troy a little bit about how we've improved.
Yeah. So most of what I've seen so far, we've been doing it at the plate. We've been, we've had some games where we haven't put up a lot of offense. We just talked about, a 2-1 loss to James Madison, followed up by 7-0 shutout at WVU. So we have struggled at times, but by and large, we have shown that we can stand in the batter's box with just about anybody. That is a big improvement from last year. What is not is the pitching. It seems like, Bryce Blevins has not had the same year that he had the year before. The talent is still there. He's just gotten, behind in the count, gotten rocked a couple of times. It's just not the performance he had last year. And then we still have, the pitching has just not caught up with the hitting yet. Hopefully, if that turns around and we see the batting and the pitching have a big leap over what we were last year, you're going to start seeing us winning more of these road series in the Sun Belt Conference. And again, earlier, maybe even last week, we had 3, maybe 4 teams that were either ranked that week in the top 25 from the Sun Belt or had been ranked at least the previous week. So there's a lot of major players here in the Sun Belt Conference. 4 teams in the top 25 is nothing to sneeze at. So again, going to play these teams, number 17 Troy, first one up. Really hope that we can put something together and keep gaining more respect in the Sun Belt.
Yep. Well, Russ, if that's all you've got, that will wrap up our Layer 1 sponsored Around the Herd segment.
Yep, that is all I have. I do have some final parting thoughts, and then I'll get yours as well if you have any. But Katie and I are going to be talking more about an award that we're going to be given at the Marshall Alumni Foundation event on April the 12th after the spring game. That's what he and I are going to talk about in this show that we're going to record later tonight and post, a couple days from now. But for anyone that has not seen it, because this is the first time we've had a recording since then, we're being awarded the Dr. Ronald Area 3Cs Award, and that goes to community, current students, current service to community, service to current students, and service to current alumni. And Katie and I have both just been blown away by this. We were surprised, and it was a surprise to KD as he was recording with Jimmy Black, the president of the foundation, and Matt James, the can't remember his title there, but he is always doing everything with the foundation, and they wanted to hype this event up. So KD said, "Sure, I'll have you on the show," and he gets blindsided that we're winning this award. And then after the recording, they texted me, asked me hop on, and I didn't know what it was about, and I get blindsided. And we're going to talk more about that, he and I. But what I want to talk about right now is that we wouldn't have the ability to do this if it wasn't for our sponsors. And, 304 Car Wreck, Leasure Oliver PLLC has been with us since what I say is day zero. Shortly after that, Ignite Link, came on board. And we've had other sponsors do other things. We just talked about Layer 1 Solutions with Around the Herd. We've had a bunch do different things at tailgates and sponsorship of our football previews last year. But the guy sitting right here, I got the point right this time, Jed Horton, has been as instrumental in this as anybody. And even though, Jed, you have not been named on that award because, KD and I are, quote unquote, the ThunderCast as part of Herd Nerds Media, I just want everybody listening, but as I tell you as well, how much you have meant to the ThunderCast and Herd Nerds Media, that I tell you all the time, I had originally was going to be with like an iPhone and trying to go live on Facebook or something like that, or little spurts on Twitter for this tailgate show idea that I had. And you were like, no, we can do better than that. And ThunderCast Live, powered by Ignite Link, was born, because of me telling you what I'd like to do and you saying, no, let's do much bigger. You always tell everybody, this is not what I do, but you do it well. And it's not just that, but, the sponsorship and what you've meant to that, the co-hosting duties that you now have, you've helped us grow immensely. And this award is just as much yours as it is ours. We were named as the ThunderCast, just the two of us, but we consider you the ThunderCast. We consider you the family. And I just want to tell you, but I want everybody else to hear how instrumental you are in all this, both behind the scenes, in front of the camera, just a jack of all trades that has really elevated the ThunderCast to what it is.
No, I appreciate that, Russ. One of the things that but drew me originally, to you guys was, you and KD having an idea, a crazy idea that, hey, let's start a podcast and let's talk about martial athletics and not just talk about football. Let's talk about all of martial athletics and bring a big spotlight on the student athletes that come to martial and participate and give of their time and of their effort. And I've never been a student athlete, Russ, but when you are a student athlete, that you've got a grueling school schedule and a grueling workout schedule and a grueling game schedule, and and it's just as grueling for the swimmers and the track athletes and the sports that we call the lower level sports, that they're just as grueling and just as just as competitive as the bigger money making sports. And so all that to say, I you've got guys like me, you've got the guys like I'm going to leave some people out, but you've had like Matt McCormick and Landscaping by Hillcrest, and obviously the Leasure Oliver PLLC, of course. Those guys are the big, obviously the OGs. But when you put out a good product, Russ, you drive in you drive in that type of participation. So as much so it's been so I appreciate you saying that. And it's been an honor working with you and KD and playing my very small part in helping you guys grow. But this was your original idea, and it's grown to what it is because of the work that you and KD have put in, and what the effort that you're doing with shining that spotlight on all of martial athletics. And the product speaks for itself, with the sponsorships, the talking with the former players and current players and coaches and things like that. It's because you're putting together a product that people want to see. So, and that also means that people want to also participate in that. So, man, congratulations to you and KD. I mean, it's well deserved, really. It doesn't surprise me that you.
It surprised the hell out of me.
Doesn't surprise me a bit, man, because you guys have been working for free. This sponsorship money doesn't go to you guys. The sponsorship money goes to tickets and the giveaways and donations and things like that. It's not a you guys aren't making money off this. You guys are doing this because you have passion for your alma mater and for the athletic program and the school as a whole. So again, appreciate appreciate that, man. I've loved participating with you guys, and you guys are well deserving of the award that you've received.
Well, thank you. And Katie and I are going to talk a lot more about this award and what it's meant to us and everything. But having you on here, I just wanted to, to highlight your contributions that are endless to this, not just as a co-host, not just as a sponsor, not just to a visionary and coming through with all the stuff that you've done to elevate it, but all of those together. And we couldn't be here without you. So, thanks again to you and everybody that's listening. If you don't know, Jed is, if you can see his shirt there, he's Ignite Link. What he doesn't have as a shirt on, that's Layer One Solutions, but he's Layer One Solutions as well. But, again, he's a sponsor, he's a contributor, but, anyone out here to listening, watching, or whatever, you may know someone that needs fiber and a lot of other things, cable management and that infrastructure of the IT world that Layer One Solutions can do. You may need the document backup and the protection of your files and your business lifeblood and payment structure and all that Ignite Link can do. So, Herd fans, we love doing business with Herd fans. Jed's a Herd fan. He brings this content to you. Please, anyone that send them back there as well. But Jed, if that's it, I'm going to take us out of here.
That's all I got, man.
Also, I'll say whether you see us at the Joan, whether you see us at the Jack, or whether you see us out in the outfield beyond the fence at the Dot, which you'll see me this weekend, no matter where you see us, we'll be saying, go Herd. It's the ThunderCast, and we'll see you soon.
Go Herd.